Hey everyone, I'm here with Chef Elizabeth Johnson. We are talking with her today just to kind of get kind of an idea about what's going on in the restaurant industry right now with the latest mandate that occurred last night with our city and county. So, first of all, she is the head chef of Pharm Table, which is located kind of down across the street from the Tobin Center for Arts at the Radius Center. And it's just a wonderful, healthy restaurant that I love to go to, and hopefully that you've been there as well. She's also on our advisory panel in San Antonio, so we appreciate her very much. So Elizabeth, how are things going with the restaurant industry, with your restaurant, with kind of the way things are right now?
I think I can probably speak for all my colleagues when I tell you that we're devastated, that the industry, the hospitality industry as a whole, will probably never be the same again. Everything from tourism to hotels to bars, restaurants. I mean, everything has just been absolutely upended. So it doesn't really matter whether you were originally a drive-through or whether you were originally a dine-in restaurant, regardless of genre. I think everybody's having to pivot literally on a dime. So they're having to rework their models, and everyone's just hustling to figure out how they can generate a few dollars. Most of us have experienced anywhere from 100 to 60% drop in our business. And so just trying to keep a couple of your employees, your key employees, on is a struggle. And here we are. And then, of course, there's supply chain issues that are at play as well, because everyone is scared. And so you have people both in a consumer retail arena as well as in a professional arena, hoarding ingredients and people being out of stock of certain things. And I mean, it's disrupted supply chains. It's disrupted global trade. It has disrupted our daily lives. And so it's a really hard time. And there's no time like the present for us to come together and to help one another and to really show what kind of a community we have.
Right, absolutely. So what are some ways that people in the community that maybe, are kind of trying to get groceries and can't get them, or people that have favorite restaurants in the area, what are some ways that they can, kind of be a double benefit by going and going to their favorite restaurants and getting takeout or getting to-go orders? What are some ways that we can help the restaurant industry?
Sure. Okay. First of all, you need to think outside the box. Second of all, I would stop going to these very large grocery stores for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're completely overwhelmed. Okay. They're operating at 60% over capacity or more. Number two, you're having to stand closer than 6 feet with other people. Okay. Yes. If you're really truly concerned about your health, I would say stay away from the grocery store. Okay. You have other ways. If you have a favorite restaurant, if you have neighborhood restaurants, pick up the phone, call them and say, I'm interested in these items. I want to get some takeout and I want to get a couple of other items. What do you guys have? Absolutely. Everyone is trying to be as creative as possible. Many of my colleagues have turned their restaurants into little markets. So I would say buy what is available at local restaurants, patron these restaurants and shift or pivot the way that you're buying. You don't have to go to a major retailer, without naming names. It's just, I have not gone to the grocery store since before this entire thing happened, okay? Because I'm not going to put myself at risk. And so there are so many better ways that people can be doing that. There's online, basically like online grocery stores, like Farmhouse Delivery. There's CSAs, Community Supported Agriculture, that will drop a box of fresh produce at a place that you can go and pick it up. Farmhouse Delivery will actually deliver right to your doorstep. And these are local businesses employing other local people. And of course, it's a wonderful thing that we have large, organizations like Amazon, but quite frankly, they're just overwhelmed. So why not shift and spread out some of our consumer buying practices with local people and with the local restaurants? Because what's going to happen is that if we don't vote with our forks and if we don't vote local, then a lot of our local eateries and small indie-owned businesses are going to disappear.
Yep.
I was listening to this really interesting program on National Public Radio. It was called Money Matters, and they were talking about the buffer that most small businesses have. Most small businesses have a 30-day buffer that they can withstand without revenue coming in. 30 days. Yeah. The average restaurant has a buffer of 16 days. Okay, so we know that there's going to be some relief from the federal government, or at least we hope that there's going to be relief from the federal government, but who knows when that's going to come. And so in the interim, we must support our local businesses as much as possible.
Right, absolutely. Completely agree with you. And some of the things, even before kind of the latest mandate that came in from the city and county, we were going to restaurants and we were seeing everyone's cleaning standards just went up. It just like 10 notches. Like everybody was wiping down, salt and pepper shakers and, being just really, really concerned about cleanliness. And I would say that, maybe even restaurants are being even more careful than, your average loaded.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, without a doubt, I don't think it's ever been safer to eat out. And I also, I don't think it's ever been safer for people to eat out. And I also just want to point out something. The new mandate that came down, the stay in place mandate has absolutely no effect or impact on our ability to deliver food to you. Okay, so I want people to understand that we are still open for business. Every one of your small retailers is still open for business. We can receive you curbside. We can deliver. Okay, there's two different ways that we can do that. So this does not mean that you need to rush out to the grocery store and start hoarding food for 2 to 4 weeks. That is absolutely not what that means. Okay. So I also want to point out that we have some free resources that we've made available online. So now you can go to our website. There's a resources tab at the very top. It's the top button on our homepage. And I've made all of our course guides that we currently teach in our hands-on cooking classes. I've made all of those free to the public. Okay.
Wonderful.
So all of those, each one of them is a $150 value. And I did that because I know people are at home. I want to encourage them to cook, and I will, once I get my feet under me, start, putting out some free videos so that people can understand, how to cook with local seasonal produce, how to cook a more plant-forward diet, because, our health has never been more compromised, and culinary medicine and what we do here at Pharm Table has never been more relevant.
Absolutely.
So I believe it is my social responsibility and my social duty to get as much of this information into people's hands as possible, because really and truly, I believe that this, our way of cooking, our way of eating is an immune booster, because it starts with gut health. And as you know, your immunity is based in your gut. So your mental, emotional, and physical well-being all starts right here in the gut. And I think that we're all compromised right now. It's a toss-up. Am I more mentally disrupted right now or more physically disrupted? It's like a toss-up. So yeah. I think that we have to focus on our mental health, our physical health, and again, that all starts in the gut. And I ask people, you can go to our website, you can see the mantras you can read about the mantras of the Pharm Table Kitchen, but really they all go to digestion, and it all goes to gut health, which again is related to immunity.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I know. Just a side note on that, personally, I know that I have, fallen away from eating healthy, and I've probably eaten more gluten than I probably should. My gut is definitely seeing the results of that. I've been eating more processed food, so the migraines are starting to pop back up. So it's so crucial, so crucial. So
and we don't have to. Right. We don't have to. Right. And I would also really encourage people to plant a garden. Honestly, tinkering in my 2 gardens, both here at the restaurant and at home, is the only thing keeping me sane right now, because there is such an innate beauty in nature.
Mhm.
And when you can tinker in the garden and you just feel like you're doing something productive, and it's very rewarding. And also there's microbes in the dirt that when your fingers touch those microbes, it helps insulate you from depression. So there are so many good reasons for us to be planting right now, and especially if you have little ones at home, it's a great thing for them to be for you to engage them in something that is not in front of a television or in front of a phone.
That is, yeah, I can relate to that for sure.
Yeah, right.
Wonderful. Well, good. So can you think of anything else? Like, you think the culinary arts schools are going to be affected by this? Just with the,
You know what? I'm so devastated and worried. I was thinking
Mhm.
about it this morning as I was cooking. You
Mhm.
know, I was a chef instructor at CIA, and I was just thinking how hard it is for me as a small business owner to keep my doors open. But when you start thinking about the salaries
Right.
that those schools have to pay out and the overhead that it costs to keep the roof, you know, to keep the lights on in those large facilities, I am so concerned. I
Yeah.
am so concerned about what it's going to look like, because it's not like, yes, we can do some online learning, but you know, when you're teaching somebody a trade or a skill, it's very hard to do that 100% online. So I just wonder at what point some of these schools are going to have issues, because I'm very concerned about that.
Yeah, I was, yeah, definitely thinking about that too. I know a lot of schools, like you said, are going online, but it's like kind of, how do you do a cooking class? Do you hold up something in your own kitchen, online? Like, how would that even work?
Well, you know, I don't know. I think that what's going to end up happening is perhaps, I think that creativity, what do they say? You know, necessity is the mother of all invention.
Right.
So I think that you're going to start seeing some creative solutions. I just hope that it doesn't, I just worry about the effect it's going to have on enrollment.
Mhm.
One, because our industry has been decimated. And then number two, people's inability to actually attend class. So that's what I'm more concerned about. I'm less concerned about how the teachers are going to be resourceful and be creative and serve the students that they currently have. I think that will happen.
Mhm.
I'm more concerned about what's at the end of the rainbow and what's going to happen in the future.
Right. Absolutely. Well, great. Well, can you think of anything else that we as a community should be doing, other than just getting those to-go orders in, and making sure that our restaurants that we love are still here when all of us surface from our homes?
Well, I think that I think that is absolutely incredibly important.
Mhm.
That everyone patron all of their local establishments and get creative. Get creative. You know, if you can't afford if you can't afford to order some food, offer some other services to that particular business owner. Maybe offer some sort of like you know, I don't know. You could hand out brochures. You could go distribute brochures on neighbors' doorsteps from their restaurant. You could pick up the phone. You could text people. You could do something in order to help get the word out. So I think that this is the time for us to be creative. This is the time for us to think outside the box, and this is the time for us to come together, hold hands, and really bring our community together.
Absolutely. Could not have said it better myself. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your time. I know you're super busy running and filling orders and everything, and we really appreciate what you're doing. Folks, we will leave the web address to Pharm Table in our link to underneath our video on YouTube. So be sure to visit that, and definitely go to a restaurant. Go get some takeout. Thanks again, Elizabeth.